This is a PSA. Make sure that when you are editing your videos, especially your vlogs, that you save from time to time, because your software could crap out on you and you could lose all of the footage that you just spent the last 2 hours editing. So now I have to sit and wait again for all that footage to render, and then I have to go back through and edit everything I already edited. Great day for me, I guess. This is a great start to the vlog, isn't it? Okay, so give you guys an update of what's going on this week and what I have planned. So, My Enemy's Cradle, this is going to be finished today. I'm going to spend the majority of the day when I'm not editing, reading this and getting it done. I got to page 20 last night. I read no more than that because Saturday I ended up spending a lot of the evening sitting and watching Breaking Bad. We've gotten to the second half of the 5th season, so things have gotten to be pretty interesting. I don't think I like this season though as much as I liked season 4. I feel like season 5 is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of one of those wishy-washy ones where I feel like things that are happening could have gone over so much better. But I think that in general, I really hate Walter. I think that he is an awful human being, and it's been pretty evident throughout the entirety of the show that he is like that. Like, he's just an awful guy in general. But I think the first part of the 5th season really kind of hit that hard, where you see that he's just an awful guy. And then I want to get started on Museum of Thieves, is I think my next one. Then this week it will also be getting through The Stand. That's going to be the big thing for this week, is getting through The Stand by Stephen King, because it's one of my HouseCupathon books. And Feel Goodathon is ending either today or tomorrow. I don't remember exactly what the whole thing is. As we are talking now, Hufflepuff at the current moment is in 3rd place with averages. So after having my computer crap out on me a second time while editing that vlog, I finally finished it. Oh my freaking god, that took way longer than I think it needed to. It's now about 2:45 almost, and I have a meeting with Adri, Liv, and Ara at 3 to talk about HouseCupathon stuff, so this is probably going to take a while for it to export anyway, and it probably will be finished by the time that I'm done with the meeting. So what I'll do is, like, during that meeting, I'm going to get my other, one of my other videos rendered. I feel like Garfield the cat with I hate Mondays, because I really hate Mondays. But good morning, everybody. It is Monday. Okay, so yesterday I did not really do much reading. I had to spend, a lot of time editing yesterday. I finally got done with editing and then had sat and watched episode of Breaking Bad with Robert while we ate dinner, and then I wasn't really feeling super well. I started feeling kind of achy. My head was hurting pretty bad, so I kind of called it an early night and went to bed, and just slept from like 9:30 to about 7:45 this morning. So I feel better, but I just still am not really 100%. I think I'm just super hormonal at the moment, so everything's like end of the world and all that jazz. But I have a lot of work to do today. I will have a lot of work to do for the next few days with stuff that's been going on, but so kind of behind on my reading schedule, but that's whatever. But currently I'm on page 33 of My Enemy's Cradle, so I really only read just under 10 pages yesterday. I had no drive to read yesterday with all of the editing I had to do. And I haven't even uploaded any of that. I hadn't had the time to sit and upload any of it because, like I said, I watched Breaking Bad and then I went basically right to bed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the files from my laptop. I'm going to just put them onto my external hard drive I've gotten, which is going to house all my finals anyway. I'm going to plug it into this computer that we have in the office and just upload from here because I've got my YouTube stuff up already. So I just have to like plug the hard drive in and then take the videos and just upload them and stuff like that. It's kind of been a shitty day, pun fully intended, because our toilet clogged this morning and I just now at nearly 12:30 was able to go out and get a freaking plunger because apparently we didn't have one because the last one we had got thrown out in the move. But it's done, it's fixed, everything's okay. The issue is Robert works the night shift, so when he got home today, with today being his first day off for the week, he had 3 beers and went right to bed. And then Ryan's still asleep, so I'm the only one that was able to do anything. and I had to wait until my lunch to do it. Yeah, I've not made much more progress so far in My Enemy's Cradle. I've mostly been really working hard because I've had this really big project basically go on since about Thursday that I've been like helping out with, just because like the person that normally is able to work on it, like there's just too much going on for them to be able to work on it, so I took on like a big portion of it. And I'm about half done with it now, but I think that today is going to be one of those days where like I'm going to get through probably 3 or more parts of it, and then the rest of it I have to finish tomorrow, which isn't too bad. I mean, it's got me busy for the last couple of days. Apparently, though, the rest of the hosts have been having very interesting days as well, so I'm not the only one. It's just been a cluster, to say the least. It's about 10:30 this morning. Hufflepuff is just slightly in second place. We're like just barely beating Ravenclaw. Like we're not even a full point ahead of them. My lunch is almost over, but I haven't really had much of an appetite today. I think my stomach's kind of unsettled for some reason. It's just not really like starving. Plus, Robert bought breakfast for us this morning, and I had like 3 hash browns. So I think that's still holding me over. But I probably will have like a later lunch, or I may just hold out till like later because today we're gonna go and get ice cream. So I think I'll just be able to hold out till then, and then he's gonna make dinner tonight. So I think I've hit a bit of a reading slump with my week this week. I don't know why. Monday I just not feeling my best. I don't know. It's been a ride, but I have a meeting in like 20 minutes, so I wanted to update you guys with where I'm at. I also don't know if it's because of the book, because I mean it's not bad by any means, but I'm just not as interested in it as I had thought I would be. Currently on page 39. I read 1 chapter yesterday, so again, I didn't even read like 10 pages. I read like 7 pages yesterday, and that was it. But Robert and I last night finished the last season of Breaking Bad, which was actually pretty good. I don't think though that the last season is my favorite. I think that my favorite season by far is season 4. I really, really like what that one did and a lot of the stuff that happened in it. Season 5 I felt like was good. I really liked where the story and the plot had gone, but I feel like especially the season finale was just, I don't know, Robert had told me it was gonna blow my mind, and I didn't think it did. I think it was, pretty, I mean, there were some things where I was like, oh, I didn't think that was gonna happen, but it didn't like blow my mind per se, but I really did like it. I like the show overall, and I think that it's definitely a lot better than I had anticipated it being. And tonight we are planning on watching the movie El Camino, which is supposed to take place like immediately after Jesse is freed from his prison of sorts that he's in season 5, at the end of season 5 at the very least. So it's going to be him like righting some wrongs, I think, and stuff like that, which I'm really excited to see because I would like to see how his story ends up. And then all we have left within the Breaking Bad universe is the last 2 seasons of Better Call Saul. Season 5 is out now, and season 6 should be out sometime, I think, next year. And we're waiting to get season 5 on Netflix. So, or I think we'll watch it on Hulu once at least it's done. Okay, so other than that, My Enemy's Cradle, I want to talk a little bit about this because I still have quite a few minutes before I have my meeting. So My Enemy's Cradle is basically about this young woman. She's about 19 years old. She's been living with her aunt and uncle and her cousin who live in the Netherlands. Her father is Polish and Jewish, and her mother was not. Her mother was originally from the Netherlands and had married a Polish Jewish man. And her mother passes away, I believe, when the main character, Surla, is born. I think that she had died in childbirth. I'm fairly certain. Either that or when Surla was very, very young. I don't remember. Then her father gets remarried, and he and his new wife have a couple kids, so she's got a couple half-siblings. When Surla is about 14 years old or so, 13 or 14 years old, this is when the Nazi Germany regime had essentially started to take over a lot of Eastern Europe, and because her father was Jewish, Surla's father essentially told her that she needs to go off to live with her mother's sister and her sister's family because it will protect her, because Surla has blonde hair and blue eyes, as opposed to her father, who has like the dark hair, dark eyes that was typically associated with Jewish heritage, I guess, or something. So essentially the whole story is her living with her aunt and uncle, and when she's about 19, her older cousin, who's probably, I think, in her like early 20s, probably 22 or 23, her cousin ends up getting pregnant by a German soldier that she has a relationship with. And this is a big deal because if there is a fatherless German soldier child, or there's a fatherless child of some kind, they are whisked away by these German soldiers, and no one knows what they do with them. And unfortunately for Sarla's cousin, who is named Annika, I think that's how you pronounce her name, Annika is essentially abandoned by Karl, the soldier, because he is being sent off to Germany from the Netherlands. And so she's completely abandoned. She's going to have to raise this kid on her own. And with the fact that Annika's family knows that Sarla is supposedly possibly Jewish, or she comes from a Jewish family, there's already a lot of tension in terms of trying to keep that a secret, and then having to keep Annika's pregnancy a bit of a secret is an issue. So the way, we haven't really got to this point yet, but the whole point of the story is supposedly that they have Sarla take the place of Annika in this maternity home, for one, to keep her possibly more safe, but also to, I'm not quite sure what to do with like Annika. So I'm not quite sure what exactly is supposed to happen, or why Annika is having to not go to this maternity home, like what happens with her. But Sarla and Annika essentially look very identical. So it's almost like a Prince and the Pauper kind of thing, I think, where like they're taking each other's places with where they would normally go. And essentially Sarla has to keep up this image that she had a child and all this stuff, but she's never really done that. So I don't know much more other than that what's supposed to happen. I am interested in it in a sense, but I'm feeling very slumpy, and I feel bad that this is the book I'm getting slumpy with, because it doesn't deserve that. It just does deserve my full attention, but last couple days just have not been my best. So I think today I'm going to really try my hardest to read this during my breaks. I wasn't able to earlier because I've been trying to like finish up this project I have, and I have a meeting here really soon, but with the next break I'm going to be taking after this meeting, I'm going to get back into this and hopefully read more of it and hopefully get a bunch of it done today. I have just been feeling very, like, I don't know, I haven't been feeling my best. I've been feeling kind of just sluggish in general. That has been affecting my reading. I haven't felt like I wanted to read, and I don't know necessarily what is the cause of that. It just sometimes happens. I think, like I said yesterday, I might have been a little bit hormonal the last couple of days, which has probably made it so I'm very sluggish. Okay, so I am currently on page 63 of My Enemy's Cradle, and I want to place a very heavy trigger warning for essentially a botched abortion that leads to the ultimate death of a character. Yeah, so pretty much the big reason I think that this main character, Sarla, has to go to the maternity ward or to the maternity home to replace her cousin. It's unfortunately because her cousin, who became, I assume, massively depressed after her soldier boyfriend had left, and her father found out that she was pregnant and was going to send her away. She basically tried to abort the child herself and ended up, I guess, accidentally killing herself. I don't know necessarily if it was an accident or if it was like she intended to kill herself. Wow, that is really hard. What's really strange for me is that I'm not usually so thrown off or so caught off guard by things like that, but for some reason this one literally is making my stomach turn. I was sitting and eating my lunch as I read this, not knowing this scene was coming up, and my stomach hurts now. Okay, so it's about 3:45 right now. I'll be ending work here very soon, and then I think I'm gonna hop in the shower because my hair is just a mess. I don't even know what to do with it anymore. Okay, so since I got to that really weird, well, not weird, the really sad part that I was talking about earlier with My Enemy's Cradle, I am now on page 65. No, I'm on page 66. Well, 65, because I'm basically at the very beginning of a chapter, and I'm gonna have to go back to restart the chapter. So moving past that really triggering event of Annika's death, it's already like getting kind of better. Like, I'm a little bit more interested because now I would like to see what the maternity home is like, because I've never heard of this in terms of the history of World War II. I had never heard in the past about how there were women that would have children through with the German soldiers, and how they would all be sent away to this place to have the children and be supposedly taken care of. And then the idea that those particular homes were meant to kind of like, I don't know, like be like a baby factory of a sense, is the way that they kind of describe it. Almost is like it's a baby making factory where like they have certain women that are having these children from the soldiers in order to like produce a pure blood line of some kind. Like I'm not even 100% sure if that's what it is, but that's what it sounded like the way that they were describing it in the book. So I kind of want to do some research on that and see what exactly that was, because it's something I never heard of. Like, because pretty much anything they talk about when you learn about World War II is like the concentration camps and like mostly about the fact that they were going to be removing people who were Jewish. But then I've also heard things about how twins were very much experimented on. If there were any cases of twin children, or even other more than that, triplets, whatever, they would be taken away to be tested on, because they wanted to know certain things about, siblings that were born from the same embryo kind of thing. Very awful experiments were done to so many different people, and especially if they were Jewish, they would likely be killed after their experiments if they hadn't died from the experiments themselves. So it's like you hear all about most of those things for the majority of whatever you learn about the history of World War II, but I've never heard about these maternity homes. So I'm interested to see what that is really all about and what exactly was involved with that, because I've never heard of it before. But so today has already felt like a week. I just spent the last like an hour really of my day, more than that actually, having to deal with the washer possibly being broken. So it's running now, but when Robert, before he went to go lay down this morning, he started putting stuff in the washer to actually, wash, take care of, and turned it on. It was working okay, and then it made this like clunking sound, almost like it was completely unbalanced, like there was more on one side of the washer than the other. He opened it up, and there was this very faint smoky smell telling me that something was not working right, like the motor wasn't working right. Then it wouldn't turn on, wouldn't continue the cycle that we stopped it at. So we unplugged it, replugged it in, all these different things, nothing seemed to be working. So we thought, well, crap, our washer's dead and there's water still sitting in it. So we had to take all the stuff out of the washer, put it in the bathtub in the bathroom next to where the washer and dryer are, and rinse everything out, put as much as we could in the dryer that was washed, at least for the most part, and just ran that. And then Robert had the idea maybe to see if we could get the water to drain, like if we let the washer sit long enough, if we could get it to drain and maybe run a few things through it. And so we refilled it with a few things, turned it on a different setting, on like the spin cycle setting, and it's working now. But we had the real distinct feeling that it was gonna die. So we likely are gonna have to possibly get a new washer, which we can afford and everything. It's not really the most convenient of things, but it's running now. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to wait and let that do its thing. And then when our roommate wakes up, I'm gonna see if he will let me take some of his clothes to test again to see if the washer will still run. And if it doesn't, I'm gonna have to call to get some maintenance people out here to see if they can fix it and kind of go from there. But I have a real sneaking suspicion though that it's not gonna work and that we're gonna have to replace it because it is old. It's been here longer than we have. Like it looks like it was put in maybe like the 90s. It's old. And the dryer by itself, we have to have that run 3 or 4 times before all of our clothes will actually dry, because it doesn't suck all the moisture out like it's supposed to anymore, which isn't really a huge deal considering that we don't have much laundry that usually goes through anyway. And it's not like both Robert and I and then our roommate have to do the laundry the same day or nearly as often. So just been a bit of a headache this morning. And then Robert broke his glasses. The arm of the glasses basically snapped off, but he's also had those frames and those lenses for about 7 years now. So it's pretty much time, I think, for him to get some new glasses. And I've been noticing I've been getting a lot more headaches recently. So I think that what I'm gonna do is I'm also gonna get my eyes checked again to, one, get a new prescription, because I think that my prescription has changed for my glasses, for my eyes. And I think too, what I might do is try to get some blue light blocking lenses, because since I'm set at the computer pretty much every single day for at least 8 hours maybe, I think that getting some blue light glasses might help with eliminating some of the headaches I have. Because normally I get like pressure headaches, but I do notice that more often than not, I am getting more and more headaches. And I think it's because I'm sitting at a computer much more often than I used to in the past. So I don't think it could hurt to get blue light blocking ones just to help with avoiding as many headaches as I can. But it sounds like the dryer stopped. So it sounds like the washer isn't running either now that they stopped. So I think I'm going to go check on both of them once I finish what I'm doing here for work, and run the dryer again for the clothes that are in there, and just check to see if the washer actually like stopped its cycle. Okay, so once again, feel like I have to apologize for white people because they don't fucking learn. They don't. And not just white people, but cis people who feel the need to basically make trans individuals and non-binary people feel like they are absolutely worthless in this world. For those of you who may not be on Twitter, might not really see what's going on there on a regular basis, or you may have just been absent the last few days by the time this video goes up on, let's see, what's today? Wednesday, June 17th. A booktuber by the name of Hannah Tay decided to post a video basically explaining why J.K. Rowling is not transphobic, and basically re-emphasizing the fact that not only is J.K. Rowling a TERF, but re-emphasizing the fact that there's a lot of people out there that think that trans people have no real stance in our world. To Hannah Tay, doubt she's watching this. Doubt she even knows who I am. But to Hannah Tay and every TERF that is out there, every trans exclusionary radical feminist that is out there, fuck you. Fuck you and your high horse, because you are awful people. To think that a person who can't menstruate is not a woman. Because let's break this down here real quick. People who cannot menstruate are not just trans women. You have menopausal women, women who have stopped menstruating because they've reached an age where their bodies are no longer able to menstruate. They are no longer able to have a cycle. They are no longer able to conceive a child, whether that is for medical reasons like having a hysterectomy, or simply because their bodies have stopped producing eggs. Women who have serious medical conditions, regardless of if they're menopausal or not. The fact remains that just because a woman is not able to menstruate does not make her not a woman. They are still a woman. They still have rights. And just because there is a person out there who is a trans woman that is not able to menstruate does not make them less of a woman. It does not make them a man just because they cannot menstruate like a biologically cis female can. Fuck you and your high horse for thinking that they don't have a place in the world, that they're not real people, that they're not able to be a woman just because they cannot menstruate. Glad to see that we have a lot of people in BookTube that are really showing their asses for how exclusionary they are. I can't even properly, I think, form my thoughts into words because I'm so angry at the fact that we still live in a world where there's transphobic, homophobic, racist, discriminatory white people, white cis people who don't even want to understand the nuances that are in our society. We are literally living in a society that is run by boomers who think that they're better than everybody else, and they've passed their perpetual racism, homophobia, transphobia, Islamophobia, anything regarding hating other people for nothing other than what they do and how they live. There's always been this saying that I've learned since I was a kid, the golden fucking rule. Treat people how you want to be treated. If you treat somebody with respect, they will treat you with respect. If somebody does not treat you with respect, they do not deserve your respect. Why is it that this is still something that we preach to people, but nobody actually fucking adheres to? Okay guys, so it is now about 9:30, 9:40, I think, in the evening. Robert has just left to head off to work. I've done quite a bit of reading today so far, and I'm going to be reading here for a little bit longer before I head off to bed. So far, my thoughts on My Enemy's Cradle are, it's okay. It's not necessarily the greatest story. I'm not really sure like what's happening at this point. Where I'm at in the story is that the main character has actually been at the maternity home now for a little while, and she's found out a little bit more about what are some of the inner workings with the maternity home. But really, it's her just kind of traversing her life here and figuring out what she's supposed to do, because she's only supposed to be here for a little while before she's going to basically be taken out of it by some basically like resistance people that are part of like the Jewish community, and they're trying to basically keep her from staying there for too long, because since she's in there replacing her cousin, they're worried that if she's there for too long, people might get suspicious about her and find out that she's a Jew and basically have very not so good things happen to her. I'm on page 154. Yeah, 154, and today I started on page 90. So I've read about 65 almost pages so far. I do want to read quite a bit more of this before I do go to bed tonight. I want to try to get to maybe the 200 page mark at the very least. I'm going to basically just try to read until I get sleepy. I am liking it, kind of. It's one of those stories where I think it's just very hard to swallow, because it is touching on very, very dark topics I didn't really expect, but I don't know exactly what I expected going into it. Okay, so we are just after 4 o'clock here. I'm gonna go in the living room, I think, and read for a while. I would like to get to a lot more through My Enemy's Cradle. I'm currently on page 194. I haven't made much progress today because I was watching Jacksepticeye's first episode of his playthrough of The Last of Us 2 today, and oh my god, that game, it's wonderful already. I'm so excited to see how the rest of the game is, because I can't go out and buy it myself. I don't even have a PlayStation anymore to use, because the PlayStation that Robert and I were using is with his sister at the moment. There's a new character who's involved in the story that I'm so excited to see what she's all about, and it's more focused on Ellie, I think, this time than it is Joel, which makes me also super excited. And we find out very, very early on that Ellie is like bisexual or something like that. At the very least, she's either bisexual, gay, or pan. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but she does have like a little bit of a thing with another girl, and oh my fucking god, it makes me so excited. I don't think I'm gonna finish My Enemy's Cradle, because I think later today Robert and I did want to start Prison Break, because for some reason with Breaking, I've always heard that people that liked Breaking Bad really liked Prison Break, and we saw it was on Hulu, so I think we're gonna start that tonight. Hello everybody, it is Friday. It is after 4 o'clock, I think about 4:20 or so, and I'm heading into town to go get some wine and some chocolate, because since it's Friday, I wanted to kind of treat myself a little bit today, so I think I'm gonna have some wine tonight, eat some nice chocolate, because I'm a little bit on the hormonal side. I just, it's Friday, I want to like actually sit and relax. And I'm going to also, I think, get maybe a hair mask, because I have a bunch of face masks that I think I'm going to use one of them today and give myself a little bit of a facial. And I think I'm going to take a bath. I think, I'm going to do a lot of self-care stuff today, because I feel like I want to do that. And so far today, though, I have done no reading. I haven't really touched My Enemy's Cradle as of yet today. I don't know, I just haven't really been feeling in the mood to sit and read while I was working today. And so yeah, it was kind of a not really busy day. It was frustrating, I think, more than anything, because today my computer crashed while I was working on something, and I think it has something to do with the website that I had to use. So also today, for those of you who do not know, today is Juneteenth, which is a very, very important event, holiday, whatever exactly you want to call it, for the Black community. For those of you who don't know the significance of the day, June 19th, I want to say it was basically 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation that Abraham Lincoln had enacted in the United States. Slaves basically were able to finally be free. They were not basically going to be used as slaves from that point in time. Many people think that with the end of the Civil War and with the Emancipation Proclamation that slavery ultimately ended right then and there. That's not the case. It actually took a very long time before slaves were officially free. So Juneteenth is really a day that celebrates the fact that Black people were finally actually freed from slavery for good. Essentially, it's a day where in the North and the South, like the collective United States, in I think it was 1867. I could be completely wrong. I might be off by a couple of years. But regardless of the actual year, the day symbolizes the day that Black people were finally able to stop being slaves. If you want more information, Google is a great resource. Go look up stuff about Juneteenth. Go support, Black creators, and go support like Black artists, because really the whole day is dedicated to Black people and what they have accomplished since the ability to finally stop being slaves and stop being the property of white people. They were finally given Saturday. I am not okay at the moment. I think I ended up drinking too much last night. I'm not necessarily hungover, but I am very apathetic to doing everything today that I had planned. Truthfully though, with that apathy to do anything regarding videos or even cleaning, I'm in a bit of a reading mood this morning. So I think what I'll do first to just get it done and out of the way and finally finish this damn book is finish My Enemy's Cradle. I still have like 100 and some pages of the book left, so I'll be able to finish that in the next few hours. And then I'm gonna kind of see where to go from there, because I do need to film and edit all of my videos today, or at least film and edit most of them today, because tomorrow's Father's Day and I'm going over to my parents' house tomorrow to celebrate with them, and so because of that I can't spend the whole day editing. I probably won't get to filming until after I finish My Enemy's Cradle, because I'm just not in the mood to film at the moment. I do not want to do anything. I'm just in a mood to read and finish this book. And I'm dragging so much. Like, I don't know if it's because I'm afraid of what's gonna happen or if it's just not necessarily gripping me. I think it's the latter over the former. We tried watching Prison Break here a couple days ago, and Prison Break is not that good. I don't know if it's just because it's the first season, but the first 3 episodes I did not like, and I do not want to continue the series. I find that it's boring. So now I need some new shows to watch. So if you have any recommendations, leave them down in the comments. Robert and I need some new shows to watch. Okay guys, it is about 12:35 in the afternoon, and finally I finished My Enemy's Cradle by Sara Young. So this was the book I basically was working on all week. Haven't made much progress in anything else because this one took for fucking ever. But this one is counting for 2 prompts for the HouseCupathon, which are the De-Gnoming the Garden prompt, which was to read a book that I've been thinking about unhauling, and I think I'm gonna unhaul this because it was fine, but I don't think I would ever read it again. And this also was counting for the Death Day prompt, which is to read a book that I kind of forgot that I owned, and I kind of forgot I had this. Or like I just didn't really have any drive to read it for a long time, so I kind of forgot about it because of that. Currently Hufflepuff is in 4th place with the averages because we ended up getting another person that submitted their books for prompts and stuff, and so that's dropped our average. So my overall thoughts on My Enemy's Cradle, like I said before, it was fine. The last 100 pages were pretty much the same, but I don't know, I feel like it just wasn't necessarily the kind of story I would want to go back to, for the pure fact that I didn't like the way the characters were developed, but it would be something I would go back to in terms of the historicalness of it. But I feel like even that is not enough for me to want to keep the book. I feel like it's just one of those books that I'm never going to read again, and so I feel like, I've done my time with it. I'm gonna unhaul it, and not do much else with it, because truthfully, I don't want to keep books that I'm not going to reread. I'm trying to find things that I really, really like that I would want to constantly reread and eventually annotate. So that's basically where I'm gonna end this vlog here. The only other thing I'm gonna be doing today is probably recording videos and editing a few of them, and then editing more tomorrow, which you guys will probably be seeing in next week's vlog. And then I will be starting Museum of Thieves, I think, tonight at some point. I don't know when. It's just going to depend on how the day goes, but I do want to get that one done by tomorrow night if I can, because my library copy is due back Monday. That one is not particularly for the HouseCupathon and for any prompts in general, so it would just be counting for page points. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know that this week was not really as upbeat and, you know, bubbly as I usually am. It's been kind of a weird week. I've been in a weird, like, hormonal, almost, like, spot, because there's been so much going through my mind with a lot of things that have been happening over the last few weeks that it kind of has, like, been bringing me down a lot. But if you guys did enjoy this video, please do give it a big thumbs up, and if you're not already and you'd like to be, hit that button down below and subscribe to become an owlet in our flock, and I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.